The PS1 had fantastic RPGs in abundance. We had tactical RPGs, Japanese RPGs, and some of the series that really took off, like the Final Fantasy series. We had them on the old generation consoles, then we had them on the current. With Final Fantasy VII, the series really took off. And me personally, I have said in the past that for me, it's not my favourite genre. I did think that I wasn't into RPG games, but you might not think that you are. But actually, have you ever played a Pokemon game? Because that is an RPG game. If you've played and completed a Pokemon game, then you probably do like RPGs. You just haven't found one that is right for you. My friend Wayne, who I started my YouTube journey with when we first started the channel, he's really into his RPGs and Japanese RPGs. And he has got some of the heavy hitters. He's even got Suikoden 2, I really think how to pronounce that. Every time I think of that, I just think of that meme. But yes, he has got Suikoden 2, which I believe runs from anywhere from 250 up to £400 if you've got one with a manual in great condition. Very, very expensive game. Now, a lot of the RPGs, I just thought they're just too much to get into. I like to pick up and play a game, and if you're watching this and you're a fan of the channel, then you're probably into retro games like myself. And the reason why I like retro games is because you can just pick up and play them. A lot of them are arcade games, high score games. You can start from the beginning. But I do occasionally love getting stuck in a story mode or a really good game, which is why my modern console of choice is a Nintendo Switch. It's got retro, it's got indie, and it's got some AAA titles and some real good games to sink your teeth into, like a lot of these old generation consoles from the past have. But for RPGs, for me, other than, like I said, Final Fantasy VII, everyone was playing at my store. It was the only Final Fantasy which I played that much of. I played a lot of the others, but that one, I remember getting to the third disc and being like, oh, like it was a big achievement. So for me, over the years, other than playing some of the Pokemon games, especially the new ones on Nintendo Switch, of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and Pearl and Diamond, which have been re-released recently, I haven't played much RPGs, but I have. A seed was planted from my conversation with Wayne previously, and from when I've done my top 10 PS1 video, where I only had Final Fantasy VII in there, the only RPG. It has made me want to keep my eyes peeled for RPGs. I've tried some others. I've tried some of the big ones, guys. I've played Dragon Quest 1 and 2. I've completed Dragon Quest 1. I have played some of them. I have gone back. I do like some of the indie ones that come out. I like it nice and simple. I really enjoyed Cat Quest 1 and 2, completed both of them. If you don't know them, check them out on Nintendo Switch. Two very cheap games, very fun. Don't take that long to complete, you know, we're talking maybe 10 hours or something like that max. Really enjoyed those. But like I said, I've been keeping my eyes peeled for an RPG, because there's loads of them. The thing is with RPGs is, you invest a lot of time into them. And a lot of people say, and this is their experience with it as well, is there's a lot of grinding and you don't know if it's worth it until you've gone so far in. And when you've invested that much of your personal time, and let's be honest, the amount of games we've got as collectors and YouTubers and gamers, we need to pick and choose where we're going to spend that time. We've got things, we've got family, we've got work, we've got hobbies outside of gaming, whether it's sports, going to the pub with your mates or exercising. There's only so much time you can invest into games. So you've got to really choose your games carefully. Now, I was in Retro Hunter, my local retro gaming store, and this title, which I'm going to show you in a second, really took my eye because, first of all, it's a dual case game. So there's not many dual case games you see, you know, whether it's Worms, Ridge Racer, Destruction Derby. There's only so many off the top of my head I can name. You don't normally see the same few titles popping up, Metal Gear Solid. Anyway, there's not loads of them. And I saw this one, KOUDELKA. Or KOUDELKA, you have to let me know, I'm sure you guys will correct me. And I saw this game, I'm going to come closer to the camera for this. So here it is, this is KOUDELKA, or KOUDELKA, in all its glory. So I saw this, and straight away I thought this looks interesting. It's a £40 game, I believe. I don't know if it's gone up, I got it for £30 or £40, you know, within the past 6 months or so. And the reason why it grabbed me straight away, I knew I was going to get it. So I picked it up. What it says on the back is, in bold, the sexiest gothic horror RPG on the PlayStation. Straight away, I was sold. For me, all the games I collect now, like for the retro games on Xbox 360 and Xbox, GameCube, etc. Other than Mega Drive, well, and the PlayStation as well, you've got Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Parasite Eve. I really like the things that appeal to me, especially on the Switch, are the adult titles. Now, I don't mean adult as in sexy gothic horror RPG, but I mean from the horror point of view. So for me, anything that's sort of obscure or is horror, that sort of adult theme. I feel like they appeal more to collectors. All the Silent Hill games are really sought after. All the horror games I love. I really enjoy them. Even the crap ones, which are cheap. Like I love the Saw games, Saw 1 and 2, Condemned 1 and 2. There's some fantastic horror games, and I'm trying to play through them now, because when I was younger, to be honest with you, I was quite frankly scared. A lot of the time my wife has to sit with me while I played Resident Evil on the Wii back in the day. So this straight away, the sexiest gothic horror RPG on a PlayStation, I picked it up and I was like, I'm definitely giving this a go. And then top it off gets even better. Wales, Great Britain, 1898. A group of 3 characters, including the beautiful medium KOUDELKA, are drawn to the mysterious Nemerton Monastery. Now, medium she is, she gets possessed in it in some of the cutscenes. It's bloody frightening.
Imprisoned and tortured and thousands of them.
Kill them! They cut off my fingers. They crushed my legs. They smashed my head and cut out my guts. They took everything from me. They locked me up and chopped my body.
My eyes! My ears! They're burned!
The dark, deserted and foreboding places keep within its walls a mystery of witchcraft and sorcery. Now I'm going to show you plenty of clips in this video as we're going along. And the reason why I was really excited to do this, to play this game and show it to you guys. So I was playing, long story short, COVID isolation, been ill last few days over Christmas, which is very ironic because on Boxing Day I wished everyone a healthy Christmas and, you know, with COVID, etc. And in that evening, I came down with COVID, tested positive on the PCR the next day. Typical. You couldn't write it, guys, could you? Anyway, making the best of a bad situation, I've played a lot of games. So I play all my games in my collection. A lot of people can't do that because they've got too many games. But I haven't got, well, I could do, but I don't like having loads and loads of toot. So I just keep the games I want. Other than Mega Drive, I do just like the cases. So even if I play all the games, and if I don't like them, I still keep them rather than sell them on or trade them back in or swap them, just because I think they look great on the shelf. But everything else, like I said, I had a big PS1 clear out recently of 17 games I didn't want. I've done it with some SNES, and I'm currently doing it with some N64 at the moment. So I've still got some PlayStation games I haven't played, so I went through playing a load of games in the last 24, 48 hours. I only found a few which I could keep. The rest of them, I'm going to sell them on. And again, I don't mind doing that because at the end of the day, I've paid a lot of these games to £5 to £10 titles. How I look at it is, when Blockbuster was open, you rent a game for £5 and you get to give it back. So if I spend £10 on a game and then I play it, don't like it, and then I sell it, it's win-win for everyone because I can sell that game for £5. That person's got the game half price to what it's worth, so they're happy. And I've only spent £5, so I've got £5 of my £10 back. So it's like putting money back in the economy, guys. I can't see anything wrong with it. So that is why I do it for myself.
Hey. Hey. Wait a minute. Hey.
Edward. You should have just died. I wanted you to lay down and die.
And by doing that, by playing these games, putting a pile to one side, a few of the games which I will do videos on, this is one that came up, and I really do feel like it's a hidden gem because I don't feel like a lot of people know about it. I think I mentioned it to Wayne and he wasn't familiar with it, and it is fantastic, and I'm going to tell you exactly why this is fantastic, this game. First of all, it's a tactical RPG, and when I say that is when you go into the battle, which you're going to see these battle sequences, which I'll show you some footage, you pick up different characters along the way. I don't know how big the team can be. You can pick up to 3 people in your team, your party. You can rearrange how they stand. You might have different weapons. You might have guns where you shoot, so you keep your character at the back and keep them clear out of harm's way. You might, fire, then move back because the characters can move so many spaces. You'll have different weapons, long and short. Some knock them back. Some you can do from 2 spaces back. some from close range. So it is a tactical game. It's not like Pokemon or Final Fantasy where you get spawned straight into a fight and it's just one attack after another, you know, fighting on spells. This has got magic and spells in it as well, but it's got that tactical board element, which I absolutely love. And the first thing that gets you with this game straight away is the reason why you need to get this game is it's only been, when it came out, I looked at reviews, it was just good average, that was all. It's got a lot of 6.5s. Always, you know, it never got a 5, but not quite 7. It is like a 6.5 game. And like I said, don't hear people talk about it. But for me, to describe it perfectly, it's a real crossover between, it's basically Resident Evil RPG, is what I'd say. Some of the monsters in it are fantastic. You're fighting like ghosts, ghouls, insects, bugs, knights, people in armour, zombies hanging off the ceiling, things with heads. Some of the monsters are like almost like Parasite Eve or Silent Hill. A lot of Silent Hill sort of monsters. But it really feels like a Resident Evil game, like a lot of these horror games did. It's basically, it is, to sum it up, it is a survival horror tactical RPG, is what this is. Survival horror tactical RPG. Because it feels a lot like these 3D horror games, survival games. Like Resident Evil, the way you run down the corridors, and it's the way it is as you enter each room. There's lots of, like there are on the PlayStation, there's lots of little short loading times, because there's a lot of cutscenes, and it just feels like Resident Evil, the way you walk in the room, the way it is. The dialogue is all, there's not much to read, there's not much text, and that's why I love the game so much. There's a lot of voice acting in this game, and obviously it's meant to be Welsh. There's no Catherine Zeta-Jones in this, unfortunately, but there is some good acting. The voice acting is good, there's lots of good cutscenes, there's not too much, it allows you to play it, and of course there's text in there. You might go to open a door and it will come up as you open a door, a monster attacks you, but the reason why it feels like grinding with some of these RPGs, like I remember with Final Fantasy VII, is you're just reading, there is cutscenes, but you're just reading so much text, and there was little dialogue. I don't remember there being any, to be honest. It's been such a long time, even with the cutscenes. I feel like it was all mainly text. And you're reading all the text, sometimes you can't be bothered, but then you lose a story. You've got to have the story, and with this, there's so much story. There is story in abundance. The cutscenes are fantastic. The voice acting is good as well, and it's all obviously American and British, European accents. That's why I find it really easy to play it, because you've got some puzzle elements. It's not like a top-down view, it's like a 3D Resident Evil survivor horror game until you spawn into an enemy, then it goes into this battle sequence, and the battle sequences are fantastic. The music, oh my god, the music is amazing. So normally you find it painful going into these battles, like I say, people say grinding, but it doesn't feel like it, because I'll tell you why it doesn't. It's not generic like foot soldiers you're fighting. It's always different monsters. Obviously you face the same ones sometimes, but there's such a diverse load of enemies on there. And obviously, like I said, you've got the weapons as well. Some people don't like this, but the weapons break. I know a lot of people complain about that on Zelda, but I like it because you're constantly picking up items. And sometimes it might just be a couple of hits more on strength, but less on magic, or more on defense and less on attack. So you don't normally change weapons, but because they break after so many battles, it forces you to change. So that is why, again, another reason why I like it. It gets you playing with different things, different elements. It's quite funny actually. So I played an hour and a half there. I knew it was a great game. Couldn't wait to get some footage on it. Then I got stuck. And then I did the most shameful thing. I haven't done this for, I don't know, 10, 15 years or so. I was trying to work out to save it. This is my only bugbear with the game. You have to find the saving points, and on the way to the saving points, because I've only found one so far, obviously you bump into these battles. You might get, you know, up to half a dozen battles, depending how far away you are from it, to get back to there. That is annoying, but you can press circle to escape. But the music in this game is fantastic. All different weapons, lots of different enemies come at you. And I know this says the sexiest Gothic horror RPG on the PlayStation, but I mean, it is PS1 graphics, but KOUDELKA herself, I'm going to have to say she's a lot easier on the eye than Lara Croft from Tomb Raider PS1 era. So I would have to say she probably is the sexiest character on PS1. Am I wrong, guys? I mean, that's the only two I can think of in comparison, which we all used to talk about and joke about tongue-in-cheek. But yeah, KOUDELKA, she's hotter than Lara Croft PS1 era, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I've diversed again, so back to normality. So with the saving, the reason why I was telling you about the saving, so while I was trying to reason why I stopped, I thought I'll get some footage. I accidentally clicked, like I said, shameful. I clicked start and select at the same time. I completely forgot. I hadn't done it in absolute years. And I reset the game. Of course, you guys know this. Do not try this at home if you haven't done it. It's so annoying. Pressing start and select. I don't know if it was all the games, but it definitely was a lot. It completely reset the console. I forgot how annoying that was, and I was like, right, I'm stuck anyway. I've lost the last half an hour progress. Like I said, I played for about an hour and a half. I played for 2 hours, but you know, I kept stopping to get a beer, and like I said, I've lost some of the save data. So I went back to get some footage for you guys. I ended up playing it for another hour to hour and a half, because the game's fantastic. But this game, I just think, if you don't know about it, this is, for me, I'd say, this is a hidden gem on the PS1 in terms of RPGs go. Because like I said, there's some big heavy hitter RPGs that a lot of people know about on the PlayStation, and we all love our horror games on the PlayStation and on these retro consoles. It's what we seek after, these horror and survival games. People love Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. People love Silent Hill 1 and 2, you know, especially on the PS1, and then on all the releases later on, they go for silly money, don't they? On the PS2, on the GameCube, even on the Xbox, etc. So they do go for a lot of money, and I do feel like this is a game you guys should go and get. I'm not saying it's going to go up in value, but I feel like it's very underrated. Infogrames, SNK game, so you know you're in good hands. But like I said, it's got Silent Hill elements in it with the monsters, fantastic cutscenes, and it's so easy to play because there's not much text to read, so it's really easy. Got voice acting, guiding you along the way, fantastic story. I don't know how long it is, and what I was very surprised with, obviously it's a dual case. There's 4 discs in here. I've dropped it on the floor, so it's all over the shop. There's 4 discs. Obviously one of them's in there. But yeah, it's a 4-disc game, not just a 3-disc, a 4-disc, bloody 4-disc. So you know there's going to be a lot. Like I said, I've played it for 2.5 hours or so, coming up to 3 hours, and I'm still on the first disc. So it's not like it's overloaded with cutscenes. It's not actually a long game. The fact that I'm on the first disc out of 4 and played a few hours, we know there's a lot of content in this game. So absolutely fantastic. Like I said, to summarise, it is basically a Resident Evil tactical RPG. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is I haven't heard people talk about this game at all. I haven't heard any other YouTubers talk about this game. Obviously I only speak to a couple of you guys out there in the community, so I would like to know, have you played this? Have you played KOUDELKA? From watching this footage, are you going to rush out and get it? I think you should, like, for the price. I just think you can't go wrong. Is it because people don't like collecting dual case games, and I don't know how well it's sold? So generally, well, with dual case games, it's because there's either a bonus disc or a first edition. Obviously this case is because there's multiple discs, obviously, so that's a bit of a moot point. But is that why people haven't picked it up? Because it doesn't fit well in the shelf or on their rack or whatnot? So I really would like to know, have you played KOUDELKA? Do you remember it? Are you going to go and get it? I think you can see from the footage itself just how good the game looks. I just think it's fantastic. Really do enjoy it, and I can't wait to go on and carry on playing it. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys, with KOUDELKA. Is that a hidden gem on the PS1? I'm Mario. And I am the Hedgehog. And today, with this...